The White Tower is a complex institution, home to 7 Ajahs with distinct philosophies, priorities, and methods. For thousands of years, these Ajahs have worked together, sometimes harmoniously, sometimes not, to uphold the Aes Sedai's mission. The unity of the White Tower is not accidental. It is the result of centuries of effort, of compromises made and disputes resolved, and at the center of that effort stands the Red Ajah. The Red's strict adherence to rules and protocols, their role as mediators between Ajahs, and their commitment to the greater good have made them unsung contributors to the White Tower's unity. This chapter explores how the Red Ajah fosters cohesion among the Ajahs, how they resolve conflicts that threaten to divide the Tower, and how their selfless dedication to the White Tower's mission transcends their own Ajah's mandates. The Red Ajah's commitment to rules and protocols is the foundation of their contribution to unification. Tower law is the common language of the White Tower, a set of rules that all Ajahs must follow. The Red Ajah's unwavering adherence to these rules sets an example for other Ajahs, demonstrating that no faction is above the law. This example fosters a sense of shared purpose, reminding all sisters that they are part of a single order, not just separate Ajahs. The Red's strict compliance with Tower law also provides a framework for resolving disputes. When Ajahs disagree, the Red can always point to the letter of the law, providing an objective standard that all sides can respect. This reduces the likelihood of conflicts escalating into schisms, as disputes are resolved based on rules rather than emotions or factional loyalty. One example of the Red's commitment to rules fostering unity occurred in 936 NE, when a dispute erupted between the Yellow and Brown Ajahs over the allocation of resources in the White Tower Library. The Yellow Ajah wanted more space for their medical texts, while the Brown Ajah argued that the existing allocation was fair. The dispute grew heated, with sitters from both Ajahs exchanging insults and threatening to withhold cooperation on other projects. The Red Ajah stepped in, pointing to a provision in Tower law that outlined the proper procedure for resolving resource disputes. The provision stated that disputes over library space should be resolved by a committee of representatives from all Ajahs, with the Red Ajah acting as mediator. The Yellow and Brown Ajahs agreed to follow the procedure, and the committee was formed. After a series of meetings, the committee reached a compromise, allocating additional space to the Yellow Ajah while preserving the Brown's existing holdings. The dispute was resolved peacefully, and the unity of the White Tower was preserved. The Red's adherence to Tower law had provided a path to resolution, and their role as mediator had ensured that both sides felt heard. The Red Ajah's role as mediators between Ajahs is another key contribution to unification. The Red is uniquely positioned to mediate disputes because of their reputation for impartiality. Unlike other Ajahs, which have alliances or rivalries with specific factions, the Red has no vested interest in the outcome of most disputes. Their only loyalty is to the White Tower itself. This impartiality makes them trusted by all Ajahs, as both sides know that the Red will not favor one faction over the other. The Red's mediators are trained in conflict resolution techniques, including active listening, reframing, and problem-solving. They are skilled at helping disputing Ajahs find common ground and reach compromises that benefit the entire Tower. A notable example of the Red's mediation skills occurred in 968 NE, when a schism threatened to split the Green Ajah. A group of younger Green sisters wanted to focus more on training warders for Tarmangaiden, while the older sisters wanted to maintain the Ajah's traditional focus on diplomacy and conflict resolution. The dispute grew so bitter that some sisters threatened to leave the Green Ajah and form a new faction. The Amerlin seat asked the Red Ajah to mediate the conflict. The Red's mediators met with representatives from both sides, listening to their concerns and helping them to understand each other's perspectives. The mediators reframed the dispute, pointing out that both groups shared the same goal, to prepare for Tarmangaiden. They helped the Green Ajah develop a compromise, where the younger sisters would focus on warder training while the older sisters would continue to handle diplomacy. The compromise was accepted and the schism was averted. The Green Ajah remained unified, and the White Tower was spared the disruption of a new Ajah forming. The Red's mediation had saved the day, demonstrating their ability to resolve even the most divisive conflicts. The Red Ajah's commitment to the greater good is another unsung contribution to unification. The Red's Ajah mandate includes hunting male channelers, enforcing internal discipline, and maintaining intelligence networks. But time and again, the Red has put aside their own priorities to help other Ajahs and to serve the White Tower's broader mission. This willingness to prioritize the greater good over their own Ajah's interests fosters a sense of camaraderie among the Ajahs, reminding all sisters that they are part of something larger than themselves. One example of the Red's commitment to the greater good occurred during the Trolloc raids on the borderlands in 989 NE. The Green Ajah, which is responsible for defending the Westlands from Shadowspawn, was overwhelmed by the number of Trollocs. The Green's warders were outnumbered, and the Ajah sisters were struggling to weave enough defensive weaves to hold back the horde. The Red Ajah, hearing of the crisis, sent dozens of sisters to the borderlands to help. These sisters set aside their usual duties, such as hunting male channelers and investigating corruption, to fight alongside the Green Ajah. They used their weaves of air and fire to attack the Trollocs, their knowledge of strategy to help coordinate the defense, and their healing skills to tend to the wounded. The Red's assistance turned the tide of the battle, and the Trolloc raids were repelled. The Green Ajah was grateful for the Red's help, and the experience strengthened the bond between the two Ajahs. As one Green Ajah sister noted, "We have our differences, but when the shadow comes, we are all Aes Sedai." The Red Ajah reminded us of that. Another example of the Red's commitment to the greater good is their support for the Yellow Ajah during the Great Plague of 975 NE. The plague, which spread across the Westlands, killed thousands of people and overwhelmed the Yellow's healing resources. The Red Ajah sent sisters to help the Yellow care for the sick and dying. These sisters, who were not trained as healers, learned basic healing weaves and worked long hours to treat the infected. They also used their intelligence networks to gather information about the plague's spread, helping the Yellow to identify hotspots and allocate resources more effectively. The Red's support helped the Yellow to contain the plague, saving countless lives. The experience fostered a sense of gratitude and cooperation between the two Ajahs, which continues to this day. The Red Ajah's unsung contributions to unification also extend to their role in mentoring sisters from other Ajahs. Many Red Ajah sisters serve as mentors to novices and accepted from other Ajahs, sharing their knowledge of tower law, conflict resolution, and strategic thinking. These mentorships help to break down barriers between Ajahs, fostering personal relationships that transcend factional loyalties. Novices and accepted who are mentored by Red Ajah sisters often develop a greater appreciation for the Red's mission, and they are more likely to work cooperatively with Red sisters later in their careers. One such mentorship occurred between a Red Ajah sister named Sain Haramon and a novice from the Grey Ajah named Pevara Tazanovni. Sain, a senior Red sister with expertise in tower law, mentored Pevara during her time as an accepted. Sain taught Pevara about the importance of impartiality, the nuances of conflict resolution, and the need to uphold the law even when it is difficult. Pevara went on to become a sitter for the Grey Ajah, and she maintained a close relationship with Sain throughout her career. When a dispute arose between the Grey and Red Ajahs over a diplomatic mission to Kerhian, Pevara was able to use the skills she had learned from Sain to resolve the conflict peacefully. The mentorship had not only helped Pevara grow as an Aes Sedai, but had also fostered cooperation between the Grey and Red Ajahs. As this chapter has demonstrated, the Red Ajah's contributions to the White Tower's unity are numerous and significant. Their adherence to rules and protocols provides a framework for resolving disputes. Their role as impartial mediators helps to prevent conflicts from escalating into schisms. Their commitment to the greater good fosters camaraderie among the Ajahs, and their mentorship of sisters from other Ajahs breaks down barriers and builds personal relationships. These contributions are often overlooked, overshadowed by the Red's reputation as male channeler hunters. But without the Red Ajah's efforts, the White Tower would likely have fragmented into warring factions long ago. The Red's unsung work has kept the Tower unified, ensuring that it remains a powerful and effective force for good in the world. In the final chapter, we will explore the Red Ajah's enduring legacy, challenging viewers to reconsider their perceptions of the Ajah and inviting them to engage in a deeper discussion about the complexities of their mission. For centuries, the Red Ajah has been defined by a single narrative. They are the hunters of male channelers, the rigid enforcers of the White Tower's rules, the faction that inspires fear rather than admiration. But this narrative is incomplete. It is a caricature, drawn from partial truths and misunderstandings. The Red Ajah's true legacy is far more complex, far more nuanced, and far more vital to the White Tower and the Westlands than most people realize. This chapter challenges us to reconsider our perceptions of the Red Ajah, summarizes their strategic roles in upholding the White Tower's power and stability, and invites us to engage in a deeper discussion about the complexities of their mission. To reassess the Red Ajah's legacy, we must first set aside the stereotype that has dominated our understanding of them. The Red Ajah is not a faction of vengeance-driven hunters. They are guardians of justice, silent enforcers of global influence, and unsung contributors to the White Tower's unity. They are strategic thinkers whose work has shaped the course of the Third Age, often without recognition. Their legacy is not one of cruelty or rigidity. It is one of duty, of sacrifice, and of unwavering commitment to the greater good. The Red Ajah's legacy as guardians of justice is perhaps their most enduring contribution. For millennia, they have enforced tower law, held Aes Sedai accountable for their actions, and rooted out corruption. They have ensured that the White Tower remains a credible force for good, that the Three Oaths are not just words but principles that guide every sister's actions. Their work has prevented the White Tower from becoming a corrupt institution, from using its power for personal gain or factional advantage. The Reds' commitment to justice has also extended beyond the White Tower's walls, as they have advised rulers on legal reforms and helped to establish fair legal systems across the Westlands. Their legacy in this area is one of integrity, of ensuring that power is used responsibly and that justice is accessible to all. The Red Ajah's legacy as silent enforcers of global influence is another key aspect of their contribution. Through their extensive intelligence network, the Eyes of the Tower, they have gathered information, prevented crises, and shaped foreign policy. They have exposed dark friends, averted wars, and protected the White Tower from external threats. Their work has ensured that the White Tower's authority is respected across the Westlands, that its influence is felt even in the most remote kingdoms. The Red's legacy here is one of stability, of ensuring that the Westlands remains a place of relative peace and order, even in the face of threats from the Shadow and from human conflict. The Red Ajah's legacy as contributors to unification is perhaps their most unsung achievement. They have mediated disputes between Ajahs, fostered a sense of shared purpose, and put aside their own priorities to help other Ajahs in times of need. They have ensured that the White Tower remains a unified force, that the 7 Ajahs work together for the common good. Their legacy here is one of cohesion, of ensuring that the White Tower does not fragment into warring factions, that its strength lies in its unity rather than its division. To truly appreciate the Red Ajah's legacy, we must also recognize the sacrifices they have made. The Red's work is often thankless. They are criticized for their rigidity, feared for their role in gentling male channelers, and overlooked for their contributions to justice, influence, and unity. Many Red Ajah sisters have spent their lives working in the shadows, gathering intelligence, resolving disputes, and enforcing the law without ever receiving recognition for their efforts. They have faced criticism from other Ajahs, from nobles, and from the common people. But they have persisted, driven by their sense of duty to the White Tower and to the world. One such sister is Elaida do Avrini Arroyhan, whose legacy has been overshadowed by her later mistakes. Elaida was a dedicated Red Ajah sister for most of her career, serving as a sitter, a member of the disciplinary tribunal, and a mentor to countless novices. She was a fierce advocate for justice, rooting out corruption and enforcing tower law with unwavering dedication. It was only later, when she became Amarlin's seat, that her judgment was clouded by power and paranoia. But even in her decline, her early contributions to the Red Ajah and the White Tower should not be forgotten. Elaida's legacy is a reminder that the Red Ajah is made up of individuals, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. It is a reminder that we should not judge an entire Ajah by the actions of one sister. Another example of the Red Ajah's sacrifice is the work of the adjudicators, the Red's internal security force. These sisters risk their lives to investigate corruption and misconduct within the White Tower. They face threats from powerful sisters who will stop at nothing to protect their secrets. They are often ostracized by other sisters who view them as spies or troublemakers. But they continue their work knowing that it is necessary to protect the White Tower's integrity. Their legacy is one of courage, of standing up for what is right even when it is dangerous. The Red Ajah's legacy also challenges us to think differently about the nature of power and authority. The White Tower's power is often associated with the One Power, with the ability to weave fire and air, to heal the sick and raise the dead. But the Red Ajah's legacy shows us that true power lies in justice, in stability, and in unity. It lies in the ability to enforce the law fairly, to resolve conflicts peacefully, and to foster a sense of shared purpose. The Red's work is a reminder that power without justice is tyranny, that authority without accountability is corruption, and that unity without compromise is impossible. As we reassess the Red Ajah's legacy, we must also engage in a deeper discussion about the complexities of their mission. The Red's role in gentling male channelers is a difficult and controversial aspect of their work. It is a necessary evil, a response to the trauma of the breaking and the threat of male channelers going mad. But it is also a cruel punishment, one that robs men of their connection to the true source and often leads to their death. We must ask ourselves, is there a better way to handle the threat of male channelers? Can the White Tower find a way to protect the world without resorting to gentling? These are difficult questions, and there are no easy answers. But the Red Ajah's legacy challenges us to ask them, to think critically about the trade-offs between justice and mercy, between protection and freedom. The Red Ajah's legacy also invites us to think about the role of rules and protocols in maintaining order. The Red's strict adherence to tower law is often criticized as rigidity, but it is also what has kept the White Tower stable for millennia. Rules provide a framework for behavior, a standard against which we can measure our actions. They ensure that power is not abused, that decisions are not made arbitrarily. But rules can also be inflexible, can fail to account for the complexities of human behavior. We must ask ourselves, how can we balance the need for rules with the need for compassion and flexibility? How can we ensure that rules serve the greater good rather than becoming obstacles to it? Again, these are difficult questions, but they are essential to understanding the Red Ajah's legacy and the nature of justice itself. In the end, the Red Ajah's enduring legacy is one of complexity. They are not heroes or villains. They are human beings, bound by duty and driven by purpose. Their work is not perfect, and they have made mistakes. But their contributions to the White Tower and the Westlands are undeniable. They have protected the world from the threat of male channelers, enforced justice, maintained stability, and fostered unity. They have shaped the course of the Third Age in ways few have ever realized. Their legacy challenges us to look beyond stereotypes, to see the complexity in every individual and every institution. It challenges us to think critically about justice, power, and unity. And it challenges us to engage in a deeper discussion about what it means to be an Aes Sedai, what it means to uphold the light in a world filled with darkness. As we conclude this exploration of the Red Ajah's true mission, we invite you to share your thoughts. Have your perceptions of the Red Ajah changed? What do you see as their greatest contribution? How do you balance the need for justice with the need for mercy? The Red Ajah's legacy is not just a part of the White Tower's history. It is a part of the ongoing story of the Wheel of Time, a story that we all have a role in shaping. And it is a reminder that even the most misunderstood factions can have a profound and positive impact on the world.